Watch this!
All right, it's time to work the adductors, more specifically the hip adductors, the muscles on the inside of the thighs, and anything that brings any kind of muscle that brings your limbs together, whether it's arms or legs, anything towards the midline is adduction. Think of it as adding, ADD, you're adding your limbs together. Abduction, abduction, is on the outside of the body, and those basically bring your limbs apart, like you're abducting, you're taking things away. So don't mix those up. We've worked the abductors a little bit by doing that dumbbell squat or the leg press initially as your first exercise. So we've worked those a little bit. We're going to work those a little bit more on the next exercise, the frog squats. We've already done the quadriceps, the front of the thighs with the leg extension. We've done the hamstrings for the back of the thighs. So the only muscle groups that are really neglected are the inner thighs, the adductors. And these are really important muscles to work because you use these all the time, just in daily activities in life. If you're playing tennis, any kind of racket sports, anything where you're moving your body laterally back and forth, even just like walking outside on ice, you gotta be very careful not to strain those muscles. You should be strong through a full range of motion as you move your legs through that range. They're very easy muscles to strain, like a groin injury, a groin strain, and you want to protect yourself by developing those muscles through the full range of motion. Now, you can work the adductors in a lot of different ways. So if you don't have access to an adduction machine, you can lie down on a table, lifting one leg up and down, working the inner thigh. You could place a little bit of a weight on your ankle doing that. You can put your ankle in an elastic band and pull against a fixed resistance or attach it to a cable like a weight stack, you're lifting it up and down. The problem with any of those other methods is that you don't have resistance to a full range of motion. Like this machine is actually providing resistance when your legs are apart and while your legs are together. If you lie down on a table and you're lifting it up and down, you only have a small range of motion. Or worse yet, if you do an elastic band and your legs, as you come in, your leg is getting resistance, the band's getting tighter. But when you're out in the fully extended position or the stretch position, there's no resistance whatsoever because the band is slack at that point. So as you pull it in, it gets tight, and as you let it back out, it's slack. And what you want to do is provide resistance through the full range of motion. Another problem with some of these exercises for the adductor muscles is that the attachment for the resistance, whether it's an elastic band or a cable attachment for a weight stack, is attached down on the ankle. It's down the lower part of the leg. So when you're pulling medially with the muscles, the cable, the resistance is pulling in this direction. So it's pulling laterally. And my knee is designed, and yours probably as well, to go extension and flexion, to go forward and back, not to move medially and laterally. So if it's pulling laterally with a lot of resistance, you're going to strain that medial collateral ligament. You're going to strain the inside of the knee. And what a machine does, it allows you to place the resistance on the knee itself or just above it, which is a lot safer for your knee joint. So this one I can flip the little pads around here. I can place my knees in here and start the motion. However, this isn't enough range of motion for me. I can go wider than this angle here. So what you want to do in this machine is pull the handle and make sure you're in a fully stretched position. You want this to be more stretched than you're able to go. Okay, because otherwise the muscles will not get strong in the full range of motion. If I didn't have it far enough, if I placed it only this far apart and brought my legs out, I'd hit the weight stack. So actually I'm lightening the resistance, I'm not getting a full stretch, and it's an inefficient way of using the exercise. So I can pull on the handle here and actually reposition these movement arms, or these movement legs if you will, to a position wider than I can stretch. And typically what I do is I put it as wide as possible just to make sure that I get a full stretch on this. It's very important how you get in and out of this machine though. These are muscles you do not want to stretch, you don't want to strain them, and it's really important for safety that you get into this in a certain fashion. So what I recommend, and there's a lot of different types of machines out there. Some may have a different incline to the back pad. Some may have the knee bent more than another. This machine actually does both abduction, pushing away, and adduction, which is pulling in. Some machines are one or the other, so it just depends on what kind of facility you have. But I'm going to put one leg in. This is how you get into the adduction machine. One leg in, and then I place my hands on the metal of the machine behind it, not on the top here. What I'm trying to do is use my arms to help get myself into the exercise. I don't want to overstretch my muscle trying to start this because it's not warmed up and it's going to strain. But I don't want my hands on here because if I throw it together and put this leg in, I'm going to get all tangled up. So what I want to do is put my hands on the outside of the movement arms, pull it together, and then throw the other leg in. All right, so that I use my leg a little bit. I'm using both arms quite a bit, and now I'm in position. I can lean back now. I keep my hands on my legs for the first few repetitions. I want to use my hands for the motion. I want to keep pushing in with my arms, at least for the first few repetitions, just to bring some blood flow into that area, make sure it's warmed up, make sure it's not too much weight. And also, perhaps don't go quite so wide initially. Maybe every repetition go a little bit further until you're maybe halfway through your repetitions. You can start going to your full stretch, your full extreme range of motion. And then you can take your hands off, down on the handles, keep yourself back, head forward, head neutral. Breathing out while the weight rises. Hold it, slowly out. Now, another point on adductor muscles. These, it's a nice stretch here, by the way, too. But when you're working adductors, they consist of the adductor longus, magnus brevis, gracilis, pectineus. There's some different muscles in there that are used in pulling your legs together. And one of the functions is not only to adduct the legs, but they also laterally rotate the legs. They actually spin the leg out like this. So you can actually, you can almost think of it as lifting the inside of your knee up towards the ceiling. And that's going to help give a little stronger contraction to the adductor muscles as you're contracting through the movement. So you're pulling with the inside of your knee, breathing out on the way in, slowly back out. And to dismount, you're going to place your hands on the metal part of the leg movement arms. Take one leg out, using your arms just as much as the legs to get out. Remember, you don't want to strain yourself getting in and out of the machine, especially with this much stretch. And that's it for the adduction machine. You definitely want to work the adductors. If you don't have access to this, do something. Do the elastic bands, do the cable, do the ankle attachment. Perhaps you can find an attachment that goes around the knee up a little bit higher, which is safer on the knee joint. But work these muscles. We're on to our next. We're on to frog squats, one of the toughest exercises ever invented.